Thank you, Mr. Minton. Thank you all, and good afternoon, and happy to be here. Again, as Mr. Minton mentioned, Shani Ferreira, Acting Chief Customer Officer. I am here joined by some of my amazing colleagues, Mr. Rich Davey, President of the MTA, Frank Anacaro, Senior Vice President of Buses, Comel Arroyo, Chief Accessibility Officer, and our partner in city government, Idanis Rodriguez, Commissioner of DOT, and a whole host of amazing advocates. Our buses deserve to move faster than it is today. Bus drivers expect when they start their duties and their shifts that their buses move faster than pedestrians walking alongside them. While we love Rich Davey and he does an amazing job in his day-to-day duties, an additional duty is not to remove Uber drivers out of the bus lane, as he did earlier today, that some of you may have witnessed. So we are all here today to speak on support of proposed legislations that will expand enforcement measures to get these double parked cars and other vehicles out of our bus lane so buses can move faster. So to hear the mechanics of that, I turn it over to President Rich Davey.
Thank you, Shanice. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Although I did enjoy kicking the Uber out of the bus stop. First, thanks all for coming. Thanks for those behind me and around me for coming. I mean, I think it speaks volumes that you're going to hear from a number of folks today who are giving voice to our bus riders, our bus customers, who often don't have a voice about how to improve service in this city or frankly other cities across the United States. But we're here today to advocate for an expansion of our ABLE tools that we have, which is our automated bus lane enforcement system that we have now in about 400 buses across the city. We're looking to expand that to not only ticket cars or other obstructions that are in bus lanes, but those that are in bus stops, that are in bike lanes, and that are double parked and in the way. We'll show you a video, as Tim said, in a moment, giving you some examples across the city of those challenges. Now look, this isn't rocket science. Tickets go up, speed goes up. That's what we're looking to do, is to get folks who shouldn't be in a bus lane and shouldn't be in a bus stop out of there. The data we have shows that this changes behavior. New Yorkers, when they get that first ticket, they're unlikely to get a second one. And if they get a second one, they're very unlikely to get a third one. They get it. And so this enforcement legislation is so critical to improving service. You know, a number of my advocate friends here in the back have advocated for us to get to 6-minute service, right? Well, this is one way to do it. If we get cars out of the street, out of the bus lanes, we will be able to deliver on those routes where we're already running 5- and 6-minute service to do that today. That's critically important. Tim, do we want to roll the video? We're going to roll the video, and sadly for all of you, I'm going to narrate it because it's... So this is actual footage that our cameras have seen on bus routes and a couple of different buses across the city. So what do we see here? Well, we've got a car parked in the bus lane over there on the right, that white car. A bus can't move. It's stuck in traffic now. Well, thank you, sir. That's the ticket picture. And they'll be getting not only a nice happy birthday card from me, but also a ticket to get out of the bus lane. You can see this other car here, actually 2 or 3 more, double parked in the bus lane. Again, bus cannot get by. The same car here, as we pull up to it, we'll snap a photo, and voila, ticket on the way. There we are. This is at Webster Ave and 180th Street going southbound. So we have the data and the detail. Anyone who wants to show up in court and say, wasn't me, it wasn't my car, well, we've got pretty darn good footage. You see that truck there in the way, and another white van over here. You can see this bus, it's the Q43 it looks like, itself could not get through, probably bus bunching as a result of having this. Voila, another ticket for the owner of the van. But again, the good news is about this is, you know, we don't want to be collecting, believe you me, the last thing I want to be doing is actually collecting money off this. We want cars out of the way so our buses can get around. Again, here you can see a significant traffic congestion, double parked car. This guy, we gave him maybe half a ticket because he's half parked in the bus lane. I'm kidding, but again, this is the kind of footage that we're receiving across the city to encourage folks to get out. As I said, the good news is is for for those who are parked in bus lanes and getting these tickets, they are less likely, about 80% of the time, one ticket, and they do not repeat their offense. So all in all, that's the footage we're getting. That's what we're able to prove to do. And I want to introduce now Udonis Rodriguez. He is here. He's been a strong partner with us. I've been here now about a year, and I think I've spent more time with Udonis than any other public official here in the city or the state. I very much appreciate his partnership as we try to improve transportation together across the city. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Udonis Rodriguez.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard and Shanifa, also a great friend and partners with a lot of things that, with her leadership working with Rich and the rest of the MTA. She knows the city very well because, she's been working for so many years, not only transportation, but many of the issues. Of course, you hear from Kemuel, another great friend. And it is my pleasure to be here on behalf of Mayor Eric Adden and alongside the MTA leadership and advocate in support of better bus services for New Yorkers and visitors. And last year we have around 50 million visitors in the city, so New Yorkers is coming back. And this is, buses are very important, not only for New Yorkers, but those who come here to visit our great city. Rich, Davey, and Fran, and Carol, thank you both for your support and close collaboration. And to the advocate that we've been working for so many years. In my 12 years as a council member, we were there shoulder to shoulder advocating to improve our public transportation in my previous role, and we should not be expecting anything less than what I did in my 12 years now as a commissioner of the largest transportation system in the whole country. We know that automatic enforcement changed driver behavior. We've seen this with our speed camera program, through which we have experienced a remarkable 40% reduction in speeding since beginning 24 hours operation. And of course, for disclosure, when we say that we have seen a 40% reduction, we are not saying that we are happy because those drivers are getting less fine. What we are saying is that this tool changed the way of how drivers take the road in our street. And we've seen this with our bus lane camera too. Only 19% of violators that receive an automatic bus camera tickets have received a second one. And just 8% of those that have received 3 or more tickets. Bus lanes are for buses, period. Yes. La línea de guagua son para el autobús, y punto. Freeing up our bus lane for buses to move people faster, safety, and more efficiently is the responsibility, and this is what Richard came to do, and that's why he's doing it. And that was this mayor and the governor and Chairman Llano and all of us and Mayor Adams, we are committed to do. We have shown that this camera work. Now it's time for Albany to pass a budget that allows us to expand their use so that more violations that disrupt bus operation can be automated. Of course, we know that there's a great positive relationship between the governors and the mayor, the way of how MTA and DOT work. So we expect our colleague at Albany to please help us for this to happen. We are currently limited to using automatic enforcement along dedicated bus lane for driving or parking in the bus lane. But the majority of bus routes are in mixed traffic without bus lanes or camera enforcement, where they are often delayed by double parked cars and other illegal behavior. That has to change. It will change. This legislation will allow the city to expand automatic enforcement in exciting ways that will move our buses faster. We could use bus mounted or stationary cameras to crack down on drivers who double park, block bus stops, and block bike lanes. This would pave the way for faster and more reliable bus service, while also making our streets safer for everyone, whether you are walking, driving, or riding a bicycle. This is a life-saving tool that this generation had the opportunity to change. We have the technology, now we just need support from Albany for that to happen. Improving bus service is a matter of equity, and DOT hardworking staff is developing exciting new bus priority project with the MTA. New York moves more efficiency by bus. We are working with the MTA to make service more attractive, to get people out of their cars and onto mass transit. This bus lane right here used to be a curbside lane that was often blocked by drivers and saw some of the highest rates of camera ticketing. Last year, DOT developed a project to move the lane off the curb to better accommodate deliveries without blocking the bus lane, speeding buses, and improving access for local businesses. I'd like to thank our talented team that is delivering this great project, including Rachel Eisenberg and Phil Bethelli, as well as our team that oversee automatic enforcement, Vinny Susi, Surojani Ranchuraji, and Vladimir Del Carmen. En un minuto, yes, in 1 minute in Spanish, hoy estamos aquí junto con Richard, el encargado de tránsito de nuestra ciudad de Nueva York, con Kemuel Arroyo y con el liderazgo completo de la MTA. Es una iniciativa en conjunto donde el alcalde Eric Adams, donde nosotros como comisionados estamos trabajando con la MTA, pidiéndole que Albany pase una expansión de poder tener la expansión en las cámaras que están en los autobuses. De esa forma vamos a poder mover los autobuses más rápido. Los autobuses son usados principalmente por la clase más trabajadora. Es lo que mueve a esta ciudad y hoy nosotros estamos esperando de que Albany, los legisladores, incluyan el presupuesto, poder expandir el uso de las cámaras en los autobuses, que va a poder darle los tickets a aquellos choferes que bloquean los autobuses, como también a aquellos choferes que están en doble parking o que bloquean la línea de bicicleta. With that, let me introduce you to another person who is in charge of civility for the MTA, a great friend who had the same role as he was at the DOT, Kemuel Arroyo.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner. It is truly a pleasure for me to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kemuel Arroyo, and I have the pleasure of serving as the MTA's very first Chief Accessibility Officer. We are here today to talk about our busways and our bus lane systems, which is truly a lifeline for so many New Yorkers. I am proud to work at an agency that designed the very first fully accessible bus systems in the United States. And it's truly a pleasure for me to be here with my friend and Commissioner Iranis Rodriguez from the Department of Transportation, who are working tirelessly to expand our bus lanes, busway systems, to enhance current busways, and to build more bus stops that are accessible to all New Yorkers. But all of these efforts fall flat when a car blocks the bus stops. A bus stop is essential for so many New Yorkers, and we heard yesterday with our announcement of expanding our stroller pilot, because we understand how essential our bus systems is, not just for everyday New Yorkers, but for parents and caregivers who move in our bus systems with strollers. As a New Yorker with a disability, I understand how essential it is for a bus to curb to the sidewalk, for a bus to meet me at that sidewalk, and so many other New Yorkers with disabilities. When that bus stop is blocked, that cannot happen. And that means that New Yorkers with disabilities have to wait for another bus, wait for that vehicle to move. Today we are saying that our bus lanes, our busways are for the exclusive use of our buses. And 5 minutes is too long, no stop is allowed. And this legislation will help us automate that enforcement, automate that system to ensure that our services are there for New Yorkers all the time, to ensure that we can deliver that service that so many parents with strollers, New Yorkers with disabilities, tourists, as the Commissioner mentioned, rely on and expect to happen, can happen. And that's why we're here today. So truly, for a truly accessible city, a truly accessible bus network system, we must maintain the integrity of our bus lanes and our bus stops. And we cannot be more clear about that. We really hope that Albany hears us and moves on this expanded legislation so that we can continue to deliver this essential service for all New Yorkers. Unas palabras en español. Es un placer para mí estar aquí con todos mis colegas en la MTA y nuestros colegas en el Departamento de Transportación para pedirle a Albany que se mueva en esta legislación que va a dar seguridad que las líneas de autobuses serán accesibles siempre para esos usuarios, esos padres y madres que usan coches y personas con discapacidad, así como yo, que entienden que el sistema de autobuses es esencial para nuestra ciudad, para nuestros pasajeros. Y todo el esfuerzo que estamos haciendo con el Departamento de Transportación de expandir el sistema de bus lanes y busways es un poco silenciado. Es inútil cuando esas estaciones de autobuses están bloqueadas por un carro que está double park o que no permite que el autobús llegue a las aceras para recoger o desmontar esos pasajeros con esa capacidad. Así que le pedimos a Albany que nos escuchen, que den nuestras respuestas y que nos ayuden a asegurar que el sistema de autobuses sea accesible siempre para todos los neoyorquinos. Muchas gracias. I'll turn it back to Shanifa to continue with the program.
Thank you, Q. So now it's time to hear from our advocate who's been championing this issue for far too long. So first, I would like to invite up Lisa Daguilin, Executive Director of the Permanent Citizen Advisory Committee to the MTA. Lisa?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lisa Dagley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA. I'm joined by Andrew Albert, who's the chair of the New York City Transit Riders Council, MTA board member, and Trudy L. Mason, who is a member of Transit Riders. Yes, and lives and represents this area. Bus riders need fast, reliable, and accessible service. And if their bus lanes are blocked, then their speeds are slow. So automated bus lane enforcement allows buses to go faster. They're able to get where they need to go faster and more reliably. So bottom line, if you're not a bus, stay out of the bus lane. With this new legislation that's pending, if you're not a bike, stay out of the bike lane. But we need Albany to get on board and pass the legislation too. It's critical that our buses, which are the engine of equity for our city and our region, are working at their max capacity, and they're working to be as fast and reliable as they can for as many people as they can. So, Andrew?
I will certainly echo what Lisa has said. The new ABLE legislation that's proposed will not only affect the bus lane, but the lane adjacent to the bus lane. So there are some vehicles that are preventing buses from exiting from a bus stop. This will address those as well. We urge the Assembly to come on board and pass the new improved ABLE legislation. Thank you.
Okay.
And I am living proof right now of what the blocked bus lanes. I got here late because I came from 79th and 2nd, I live on 78th and 3rd, down here, and at least 4 times along the route from 79th going to 66, there's another issue which there is no express stop at 72nd, which this area has been fighting for so long. So I had to go down to 66. It took 11 minutes to go because of the blocked bus lanes. So as I said, I am living proof. That's why I got here late. And that is why so many people who live on, especially on the east side, and this neck of the east side, where there are so many deliveries and everything else, have to go through blocked bus lanes. We need this legislation. It must happen for people like me. Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, Sarah Line, Chief Strategy Officer from Open Plans. Sarah?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Lind. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at Open Plans. Open Plans is a nonprofit that works to make a more livable city. And by this, we mean a city centered around people, not cars. Buses are a critical transportation mode for millions of New Yorkers, and bus lanes are public space. So we should be using that public space to benefit everyone, not, again, a single car that's parked illegally there. We also like to emphasize that this program also benefits everyone using our streets. When we see a bus that has to leave the bus lane, that causes a ripple of congestion all the way down the street for everyone else trying to use the street as well. We also know from studies on our program here that these cameras reduce emissions. So as we face a climate crisis, helping our buses reduce emissions is critical as well. So, we're here to say we need Albany to give us permission to expand this program. As we see with so many other home rule situations, it's a little bit ridiculous that New York City has to go begging to all Albany over and over and over again. We work with transportation alternatives and Families for Safe Streets. We have to go begging to Albany for lowering our speed limits and speed cameras, and we have to have families who've lost loved ones go up every year and beg for this. So we'd really love Albany to give us this without forcing us to beg all the time. New York City desperately needs this program, and we need to pass this in the budget. So thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin Pears, Deputy Director of Riders Alliance.
Hi, everyone. A wise person once asked, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? And when it comes to our city's network of 140 miles of busways and bus lanes, I think the answer is no, because most assuredly, a bus lane that does not have robust and proper enforcement is simply not a bus lane, it's a parking lot. New York City is well known for having some of the slowest buses in the country that crawl down our city streets at 8 miles an hour and often much slower during peak travel times. And any one of our Riders Alliance members will tell you that the experience of getting stuck behind an illegally parked car or behind an Amazon delivery van or an Uber or behind, all too often a police vehicle is unfortunately a truly maddening experience that, really causes delays and missed appointments and all kinds of misery every single day. We've made great recent strides in improving our city's infrastructure, making it safer, more accessible, and more efficient, in particularly adding more bus lanes and busways. But this infrastructure is only as good as it is observed and enforced every single day. Sadly for us, we cannot have our President Richard Davey ticketing riders every single day, though that would be wonderful if we could. But we really thank MTA leadership as well as DOT leadership for making this all happen. I really want to thank Senator Kruger and Assemblymember Hinman for being true champions, for having more efficient infrastructure, and for introducing and supporting this legislation. And I also want to call on the Assembly to follow the Senate and Governor's lead and pass this critical legislation. In the budget this year, millions of bus riders are depending on it. Thank you.
Elizabeth Adams, Senior Director of Advocacy and Organizing for TriState.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Adams. I'm with Transportation Alternatives. This program is common sense. Public transportation and buses are core to how New Yorkers move around the city. I think we saw earlier this week the rollout of the new We Heart New York initiative, and one of the lines in there was, "We love using our driver's licenses for everything other than driving," because we move through public transportation. We're pedestrians, we're cyclists, we're subway riders, we're bus riders, and yet New York City still has some of the slowest buses in the country. We have the tools to change this. We know it works. You have the numbers here. As the commissioner said, the vast majority of drivers who get a ticket once don't get another one, because what we're doing here today is changing driver behavior. We're using our streets for a better purpose, for our people, for older New Yorkers, for children, for people who use assistive devices. We have to stop allowing the blocking of our bus lanes. We have to stop letting parked cars, double parking in our bus lanes. So let's get it done. Right now we're waiting on Albany. We've got just, I think, a week, less than that, left in the session. And so we're calling on the legislature today to do what's right, to make this program work, and to invest in it to the degree that we know is needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Eric McClure, Executive Director of Streetpack.
Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, actually. It's unconscionable that in New York City we allow a single driver to run into a store for a minute or run to the ATM for 2 minutes and slow down 50 or 60 people who are riding on a bus. The buses are ridden by working New Yorkers. I mean, the epitome of the working New Yorker is a person commuting to work on a bus in New York City. We have proven technology. We know it works. The charts demonstrate it. We see it with our own eyes. It's sped up bus service on busways and in bus lanes, and it's imperative that we do the same for people who are blocking bus stops. If you're unable to even get on the bus in the first place because the bus can't get to the curb, you're a person of limited mobility, your entire day can get thrown off kilter. So we thank the MTA leadership and the Department of Transportation leadership for their commitment to automated enforcement, and we implore the State Assembly to join the Governor and the Senate and include ABLE in the budget package for fiscal 24. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least, Megan Aaron, Program Director of Nyberg Street Straphangers Campaign.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Megan Ahern with Nyberg Straphangers Campaign. Just to paint a picture, you're on the bus, you're doing whatever you're doing, listening to a podcast, checking your email, thinking about where you're going, and you notice the bus hasn't moved for a minute. And you look out and you're like, oh, stuck behind a double parked car, bus can't get to the curb. The frustration level starts going up really fast for New Yorkers. So for the collective lowering of New Yorkers' blood pressure, let's invest in programs that we know works. That's the ABLE policy, calling on the Assembly to get on board with the Governor and the Senate, and let's get this done for our riders, for our health and our blood pressure, for more reliable and faster bus service. Thanks.
Thank you. So one more, Jackie Cohen from TriState Transportation. Please join us.
Thank you. No, that's okay. Thank you all. Thank you. I'm Jackie Cohen. I'm the Director of Climate and Equity Policy at TriState Transportation Campaign. I'm really grateful for the leadership at MTA and at DOT. This legislation is a great example of city and state working together to improve the lives of everyday New Yorkers. One of the most important tools that New York has in its arsenal to fight climate change is making transit so good that people don't want to take cars. Unfortunately, and I say this as somebody that really loves our bus system, maybe a little too much, our buses are not the preferred option right now for most people. They're a necessity, yes, but are they the preferred option? No. And that is because, as you heard, we have some of the slowest buses in America, despite having the largest bus network in the country. So this has to change. Expanding ABLE will make the program permanent, speed up buses, make our streets safer, be good for the climate. It's a win-win-win. We're calling on the Assembly to join the Governor, join the Senate, and make this legislation a reality in this budget this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so questions? You guys up for that? Rich Davis?
Sure, yeah, of course, sure, of course.
Of
course.
Rich, this has been brought up for years and years and years. And one of the things the previous mayor used to say is, yes, definitely got to get out of the bus lane. Unless you're running a quick errand and you got to pop into the store, and that's where they came up with this 5-minute idea. I'm just wondering what you think of, like we saw a postal truck up there, or UPS, or FedEx, or the quick errand.
Right there, this entire press conference, a UPS truck. What can Brown do for you? Me? Get the hell out of my bus lane. I mean, that's the point, right? So
you're saying no exceptions at all?
No. If you're not a bus, get out. I mean, I've heard of reports sometimes that transit vehicles are parked in bus lanes. I have put out the word to my team, unless you are a bus, get out of the bus lane. Obviously, if there's an emergency, if there's a fire in this building, I would expect the fire truck to be on that bus lane, or if someone was in distress, an ambulance, of course. But beyond that, I don't see any other exceptions. Nor does the legislation, more importantly.
All right, Dan Reveley right back there from New York 1.
Thank you. To the commissioner, to you, Rich Davey, when I see who's blocking the bus lane, I see MTA plates, I see City of New York plates. You apparently have a good reason. Why not other people have a good reason? Or do you want to apologize for blocking the bus lanes?
No. The answer is we don't have a good reason. I just explained. If there's a legitimate emergency, of course. But if I see an MTA employee in a bus lane, of which I do from time to time outside of my office window, I am making a call to say get out of that bus lane. So again, I think it's part and parcel to ensuring that folks understand that the bus carries, might not be the preferred alternative, but it does. These buses carry 1.5 million New Yorkers every day around. I mean, it would. If our bus system was its own transit system, it would be the largest transit system in America. We have to, so we have to realize that it's moving real New Yorkers around and lots of New Yorkers around. So there's no excuse.
And Commissioner, I saw a City of New York car you're getting into.
Well, following what Rich said, we both are committed to leave our fingerprints. With the opportunity that we had to run the New York City Transit, and myself as a commissioner working with both at the state level, Governor Hochul, Chairman Jano, and Mayor Adams, to definitely move our buses faster. Right now, as today, we are asking Albany to please include. I will add to that part. We are asking Albany to please allow us to expand the automatic enforcement. You heard loud and clear. We both just said we just want buses on the lane, and unless someone is in important services, such as an ambulance, a fire department, the message is clear for both, for Rich and I, only buses in the bus lane.
So why did you have a City of New York car in the bus lane right over there? It's gone now, but when I got here, it was there. Why was it there?
Well, first of all, I reinforce what I said and the message that I want for everyone. Please help us to influence Albany to expand this automatic enforcement, and we both agree, and the mayor and the governor, that the bus lane are only for buses.
Yes, thank you for that. Mr. Davey, what is the cost of the fine? And also, are there points attached to the fine? And or would there be people getting towed because they're in the lane? Because I recall Don't Block the Box. When there were points attached to that ticket, nobody was blocking the box anymore. So, that's costly to a license.
Sure. It's $125 for the first fine. It goes up. I would tell you the recidivism rate, which we have, shows that behavior does change, right? And so, initially when we rolled this out in 2020, you saw a uptick and then a downtick in tickets being issued. These are a few examples where we rolled out on the Q44 and the BX12. You can see tickets going up, but the speed's going up because once a ticket was issued, folks got the message. So, I think, the challenge we have certainly is with some corporations. Again, our friends over there and What Can Brown Do For Me, a few others. I think that's a place where we need to continue to look for some accountability and responsibility. But I think for the average New Yorker who's parked in a bus lane, they get a ticket and their behavior changes. And as a result, service improves. I'm sorry, $50 for the first.
But don't you think there should be more teeth in the fining or in the accountability?
It's for the well, look, I think what we're saying today is it's less about the accountability, it's more about the expansion, right? We're getting it done for bus lanes. What we're saying is for bus stops, and then for double parked cars. Those, as you saw in the video earlier, those are some of the key issues with the expansion of the ABLE legislation. We'll be able to attack those issues as well.
All right, Michael Hilo right there from the Upper East Side. Go ahead, Michael.
So you're misleading charts over there that are both different and say the speed increase, I'm guessing is by percentage, show that speed has only increased by under 1 mile an hour for both those routes. Your video is not of the Upper East Side, okay? And on the Upper East Side, our bus lanes are constantly blocked by Amazon, UPS, who pay the stipulated fine program, negotiate their fines, and don't give a crap about how much the fine costs because it's the cost of doing business.
Is there a question, or?
Why are we here on the Upper East Side? Is this just the most convenient place to hold a press conference?
No. My answer is no. Okay. I'm not sure what the question was. So.
Why did you hold a press conference on the Upper East Side?
You asked if it was the most convenient. My answer was no.
Okay.
The real reason is because this was the first bus lane where we rolled it out. But in any event, you have another.
So the biggest complaint I hear about the reason why buses are slow is because you don't have all-door boarding. Why aren't you here announcing all-door boarding?
I disagree with that, and we're here. No,
Let him answer the question. Michael, let him answer the question. Go ahead. Do you have an answer?
think you've been yelling at me the whole time. The answer is I'm happy to talk about, we're not here to announce that today. We're asking, Albany right now is considering ABLE legislation in the budget. The budget we hope will be done by April 1st. It's in a week from now. And so that's the key.
Mr. Mr. Rodriguez.
We're going to move off that.
Yeah, to Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, please.
The commissioner. Yeah. Where do you stand with respect to the administration's promise to have 150 miles of bus lanes at this point? I mean, because you've only got, you've delivered, what, maybe 10 miles so far? Where do you guys stand on the rest of it?
We're working hard. First of all, we appreciate the level of collaboration, how we work between MTA and DOT. Yes, last year we did 11, almost 12 miles of bus lane. We're working this year very hard to be sure that we continue working toward our goal of delivering the numbers of bus lane that we need. And we know that, of course, working with the advocates and the whole community, like this administration said very clear, Mayor Adams and I, we want to get the numbers of bus lane that we are committed to do. And the team at TP and at DOT, they're working very hard to overpass the number that we did last year and work toward our responsibility that we have in the city of New York.
I understand the aspiration. Do you have a timetable?
Well, we're working, it's early in the process, you know, sometimes getting into the bus lane, it is go toward the weather, you know, like, will we have good weather to work as a numbers of months to do the bus lane? You know, like, we are confident that with many projects that we started doing the designing and doing the community engagement, that we are moving progress, and that's our goal. Our goal is to get to the numbers of bus lane that the council, the advocates, and the mayor committed to deliver in 2023.
So no timetable then?
Well, it's difficult. Like we do have a goal. The thing is that we have to wait. We gotta wait to the end of the year to see how the weather helps us. Like depending on how cold, the fall, the summer. Like there's many factors that play a role on how we get the job. And of course, I also want to take advantage to ask for all the stakeholders across the 5 boroughs that help us to also to build the community supports that also we need, that is very important in order for us to get the bus lane that we are committed to deliver.